Reaching top 10% of readers is actually easy. You need to just follow this 4-step formula. Let's start with a chapter list. Step 1. Don't be afraid of a low-hanging fruit. Step 2. Read like your life depends on it. Step 3. Don't make reading a virtue. And step 4. Items you should always have on you while reading. Let's start with the first step, the low-hanging fruit. Right now, you're probably too prideful to reach for it, and that's why you're stuck. Let me explain. It doesn't matter whether you are starting to read and you're reading like maybe 20 to 30 pages per day, or you're like a seasoned reader reading 50 pages per day. Because no matter how many times you've been reading consistently, you probably still have self-limiting beliefs that make you less efficient reader. I'll give you an action step based on your reading level. If you read around 20 to 30 pages per day, or you just are stuck at some page count level per day that you can't break through, I want you to do an experiment. We're gonna break your beliefs by giving you a new reading PR. This will break your self-limiting beliefs that you didn't even know were there. It will do to you what it will do to a runner to first see that he isn't gassing out completely after his 10-kilometer run. And when that runner goes back to 5-kilometer run, or you go back to your normal reading, when you will feel like, I'm kind of done here, I want to be down here, you'll know that, hey, you just gotta trudge through that feeling a little bit more before you get the second wind and you can go even further. You just push through that for like 5, 10, 15 minutes maybe. And then you get the second wind. Things starts to flow more. And suddenly that hard ceiling that you thought was there, it's just bullshit. It's just a point where your brain gets a little tired, so maybe you'll slow down a little bit. But then you pick the pace up again and you just go with the flow. Action step for step 1. I want you to pick your favorite book from childhood. If you don't have a favorite book from your childhood, it can be a book that one of your favorite movies was based on. It will probably end up being something like a Harry Potter or something. So you might reach for that. And why I recommend this for you? Because simply you will be likely to just want to binge it because of like nostalgia. You'll remember the first time you read it, or maybe you remember the times when you were watching the movie with your family and etc. whatever. But those books especially because you probably have one of these in your house. Maybe not the part that you like the most, but your family member sure has a copy. Or if not, you have it in your library nearby. So just go for it. Because you want an easy flowing book that you will want to go for further and further and binge like a Netflix show, to see just how many pages you can try to read a day to set a new personal record. By the way, I'm not telling you to read a kid's novel. I'm telling you, pick any sort of book that just fits you, you have it on hand or whatever. Use it as a tool for setting a new PR. You can just pick it up, set a PR. You don't need to finish it. You can just toss it away onto your shelf, and when you feel like setting a new PR, pick it up again, and there you go. You set a new PR. Those kinds of books are really only good for two things, either for fun or for breaking your limiting beliefs and setting new PRs. Or if you want a dopamine detox with a nostalgia trip to it. But if you want other recommendations, here's a few. If you like fantasy, go revisit Hobbit. Maybe a nostalgic trip for you. But if you want something new, I don't know, try Summoner. If you like science fiction or an unhinged sense of humor, The Perfect Run is your book. And if you want a thriller, pay Sherlock a visit. Simple. And if you believe that non-fictions are only books worth reading, then It Can't Hurt Me. I don't have Can't Hurt Me on me, but Never Finished is also a good option. But I've read the ebook, and bro, you will get sucked in easily. And setting a page count PR and Can't Hurt Me is like, yeah, it's no harder than with Harry Potter, honestly. Step 2. Read like your life depends on it. I'd say reading is shaping your life equally or even more so than your fitness life. Because think, you wouldn't go to the gym not knowing what workout you're doing today. It's ingrained in you. Wednesday, it's legs day. Tuesday, push day. Friday, pull day, whatever. Every time you walk into the gym, you know why you're there. So why do you treat reading differently? Every time you open a book that is meant to solve some problems or be a map to X result, you need to be clear on why you are reading that particular book and questions you want to ask yourself to know the things that you want to extract from it. Here's the action step. I want you to grab a stack of sticky notes, and on the sticky note, every time you start a new book, you grab a sticky note, you write out why you are reading this book, questions you want to be answered, and after you do that, you tear out the sticky note and you just use it as your bookmark, so that every time you restart your reading session, first you go through your bookmark as a warm-up of sorts. And after you cue yourself up for looking for those answers, you find that, oh wait, I wouldn't notice this if I didn't read that question. If I didn't ask myself this question right now, I would overlook this verse that is actually answering it. And this will help you really dial down on those hidden gems that you came for to the book. And you can do the same with Kindle. If you have a case with a cover, stick your sticky note onto the cover. If you have a case without a cover, then stick the sticky note bookmark on your screen, and when your Kindle is booting up, when you are turning it on, read it. After you're done reading your bookmark, tear it off, put it to the side. After you're done with your reading, put it back on, close your Kindle, done. Extra 15-30 seconds, but the results are 1,000 times worth that amount. And if you found that you answered the questions that you came for to the book, you can write the page count number with the answer next to the question, so that next time you go through the book, you look at the first page where you left the bookmark after reading it. And for the review, you can see that, okay, for this problem, I need to go to this page, etc. That bookmark gives you a space to note things if you don't want to write in your book. Step 3. Don't make reading a virtue. Reading is not a goal in and of itself. Reading is a tool to help you reach your goals. Yeah, sure, you can read for fun, but nowadays, more often than not, you're reading to achieve a certain goal with using a book as a map to reaching there. So if you are using a book as a map to reaching to the point X, why is your goal to read a book a week? And that's what's stupid. People make goals and performance indicators for the reading. They will read X pages per day to finish this book in 7 days. But then they don't do the same thing with the action steps. And people will schedule time to read a book a week. They will not schedule separate time from their work to take action on the book. And that's stupid, because they assume that they will remember to do it. Don't leave things to chances. If you would, why are you doing self-improvement instead of gambling? So here's the action step. Schedule in time each day to take action on what you are reading, and schedule in a 10-15 minute time window after each reading session to take notes on action steps and things you learned, as well as to schedule them in your calendar for later execution if you can't do the action step right away, and to set reminders to do it by alarms, etc. Step 4, the items I want you to have all the time on you while reading. And believe me, those couldn't be simpler. First is that bookmark that I've shown you before how to make. Second is retractable pen And third, a notebook of any kind. I explained to you the bookmarks, so let me explain to you why especially the retractable pen is the way to go. Because first and foremost, you can use it as a pointer to modulate your pace. It's easier to make yourself speed up and slow down in a controlled manner when you are tracing after something onto the page when reading. And retractable pens are the best for it because as you trace through your page, when you stumble upon something you want to underline or highlight, you just click, do your marking, you go further, you end your marking. That's it. You highlighted something without needing to fumble for your pen, uncapping it, highlighting it, finding where that part that you want to highlight was, underlining it, then capping the pen, putting it down and going back to reading. Like, that is just so annoying and like it will throw you out of the flow. So don't do that. So just grab yourself a fine Pilot G2, for example, or other pen. Stay away from 0.7mm to 1mm pens because they just are harder to write marginal notes on the side of your book page. The thinner the pen, the easier it is to write on the side or on the top or bottom of the page, and also easier to underline in a way that doesn't obscure text. And a single pen will be always better than a dozen highlighters if you just use a few simple symbols to mark the importance of what you are highlighting. For example, use different brackets. Use square brackets for the most important things, use open brackets for less important things, and you can use those like pinch-like brackets for really optional things to read for your second read through. You can use exclamation marks or asterisks for the most important things. You can use a dot in the beginning of the bracket for the action steps or tasks. You can use any sort of system you want, from bullet journaling or whatever you want. Eventually you will come up with your own sets of symbols and it'll just make your life way easier because when you will go back through the book, like I often do at 5 AM Club, I will just go to a page that I highlighted and I'll read only the underlined stuff, only the stuff in brackets, and I can go for like 30 pages in like 20 minutes. And lastly, but not least importantly, a notebook, either a pocket one like this or a simple spiral notebook like this for taking notes after you're done reading. And here's the important part: you take your notes after you're done reading to not get you out of the flow. When you are reading and you think, oh, this is like super important, I want to note that, mark it with your pen, and after you're done with your reading session, you schedule in that 10-15 minute time window to go back through what you highlighted, note what you want to note, and schedule in the action steps that you found that you can take action on. And whether you schedule it to now or to tomorrow, it doesn't matter. If it gets scheduled, it will more likely be done than if you think like, oh yeah, I'll do that. You fucking won't. And you see, it was easier than you think. Be more intentional of the way you are reading. Not be afraid to go for the low-hanging fruits to break through the barriers and to actually make reading fun. You need to just keep a few things on you to make your reading more effective. Simple, right? And if you use those things for reading, store them in a place where you usually read. If you read on a couch, put them on an armrest. If you read in your garden, put it next to your front door. Anyways, if you found this video helpful, subscribe. And if you want one-on-one help from me, hit me up on Instagram. You can find it in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.